Hello and welcome back to the Halcyon podcast. I'm of course your host Lorne Risley, welcoming you back from somewhat of a hiatus. I've taken a couple of weeks off of recording any podcasts, purely because I wanted to focus my efforts and attention on the reason why you're getting effectively reruns of the Halcyon show. They're not actually reruns, they're shows I've produced far in advance. Maybe 7 or 8 episodes. I've got maybe 7 or 8 more recorded, yet to be edited, a further 20 that I've written and not produced or filmed. So yeah, the reason being is I is a fat mofo and I has got to lose some weight, bro. So yeah, basically the last 2 weeks I've focused my attention on training pretty rigorously over the course of maybe 3 to 4 hours. I've cut pretty much all carbs out of my diet, insisted upon a very high protein intake, so much so that I'm now consuming tuna at an alarming rate. And trust me people, when you're starting to mix tuna with other things that shouldn't go with tuna just to try and get that shit to taste good, you're really starting to struggle. Nevertheless, that's the reason why I'm recording this, not filming it, because I want to give myself a little pep by giving it maybe 2-3 months of focusing on training rather than filming anything new, to really show the disparity between the two physiques. So that, in essence, that really explains why. If anyone has been wondering, I doubt very much anyone has, because like I say, my channel is just a bit of fun for those who got nothing better to do and check out some weird dude in the Midlands who's got an opinion on a thing or two. So thank you very much for the comments and the messages on the last couple of videos that I've produced that haven't really been about anything new or original. They've just been things that I've had strong opinions on and I wanted to release stuff on. So thank you very much for watching and checking out those. The topics of this show are kind of be rambling, but I am going to try and keep this to a 30-minute broadcast, so you'll be happy to know, and you'll also may or may not be happy to know what I'm going to try and do from now on is I'm going to record a new podcast every 3 days. So you're going to get 3 videos a week from now on. For those who want to know, in effect, you'll get one review probably on a Monday or Tuesday. You get a podcast around Wednesday, a podcast around Friday or Saturday, and the cycle will continue for the next 3 months until I hopefully am back in shape. Hopefully. Those of you who've ever tried to lose a substantial amount of weight, having been atrophied for a long time, will know what I'm talking about. But basically, just to tell a very quick story, a few weeks back, I woke up and couldn't get out of bed. Not for lack of trying. Basically, my back had seized and I was having spasms in the lower section of my back, specifically on the right hand side, where I couldn't sit up. I had to roll out of bed in a prone position, push myself up, get myself on my feet, and then try and get dressed without the ability to be able to bend over, which was fun. So I took myself to the doctors, and the doctors rerouted me, and then they gave me a piece of paper to fill out, and I felt much better after that. Honestly, people, if you've ever tried to go to the doctors before to sort out this kind of stuff, you'll know how useless the NHS are for dealing with that sort of thing. So I realised that the reason was I was just so atrophied from not exercising, not doing anything, not eating right, not sleeping enough, stressing about everything, including YouTube, which if you don't run a YouTube channel, you don't know what it's a very psychological thing. It's not something that's I mean, for a channel like mine, I don't rely on this for income or any kind of exposure, so there should be no stress involved, but there really is. You really worry you're gonna become irrelevant by not releasing new content. And to be honest, I think if I look at my channel right now, my figures have certainly shown that my figures are atrophied just a little bit, if nothing else, because I'm not producing anything with up to date. Which leads me on to the next subject before we get onto the juicy stuff that everyone knows about rather than just unique to my channel on YouTube. recently, obviously, I've not been producing any new content, and it's not because I'm bored, it's not because I'm sick of it and I want more attention, so I'm throwing my toys out the pram to go and do something different. That's the reason why I've been releasing the occasional video on a weekly basis that I've, you know, for lack of a better phrase, had in the can. But, and I will touch on this, and I don't know if I'll get any heat for it, but who the fuck cares? It's my show, I'll say do whatever the fuck I like. Very recently, I've been associating myself with other channels to try and get exposure on them, to get exposure on me, and it's gone reasonably well. I'm up to 132 subscribers, which is pretty cool. It should be 133. And there's a reason for this. Now, to give you a bit of a background on the reasons why I've decided to stretch my channel in the way that it has, and the reason why I feel the figures have atrophied is because I really wanted this channel to be about interaction with people who have taken the time to watch my videos. I'm not going to call them fans because I think that belittles their standing in my eyes. They're not fans, they're acquaintances now, they're people I know. There's a couple of people who I will give very quick shout outs to now because why the fuck not? I do it on every podcast. Seems only fair I should do it on this occasion. So 5-minute discussions, Zombies Playground. I can finally say the whole name because I've got it here. Cronenborg73 Making Gaming Fun. Buddy boy, I finally put the whole name in there. Please go and check out his channel. He's been checking out a lot of mine recently and I'd much appreciate anyone going and watching his videos, please. BBK Smasher. Young lad, producing good content. Avid supporter of the show originally. I haven't seen his comments as much recently. I can only assume he's enjoying life as he fucking well should. He spends time on YouTube doing this too often. You go mad, people. Crazy. Mad indeed. Oh, nah, it's not really funny, so I'm going to stop right there. Point being, these channels are those that I support, recommend, endorse wholeheartedly because they produce good content for good folks such as your kind selves. Now, recently though, I became affiliated, well, more than affiliated. I started producing content for another channel called Cinematic Venom. A YouTube channel run by a guy called Rob. And the reason why I bring this up is because I had to stop producing content for him because I needed content to satiate my channel while I was taking some time off so as to not ignore the audience. And I think for the longest time, at least, I really did want to kind of associate myself with a bigger channel, which is no doubt in my mind, Cinematic Venom is a bigger channel than mine. 800 subscribers versus 132. There's no comparison. There's no rhyme or reason why you wouldn't. However, it became clear very quickly after I associated with this gentleman that the content was more important than the collaboration. What do I mean by this? Well, basically my job was to provide a video for his channel in exchange for hopefully better exposure on mine, you know, the opportunity to collaborate on videos, to produce unique kinds of content that I wouldn't be able to produce on my own because there's only so much I can talk to myself, such as in this podcast format, before it becomes boring and a bit tedious, which is why I'm always trying to cover wide varieties of topics to try and keep me on my toes. And basically we had a discussion and I said, look, I'm taking a bit of time off here. I know I've only produced 3 videos for you in so many weeks, but I need to take some time off, and the videos that I've made I'm going to keep for me. And more to the point, with the greatest of respects, my channel hadn't really seen an increase in exposure, hadn't really seen an increase in views. The benefits to me were very normal, to say the least, and my videos weren't performing all that well on his channel. I'll be perfectly honest. People just don't seem to gravitate towards my style of presentation and my demeanor, my attitudes, my opinions, and things like that. So I thought it was just mutually beneficial for me to stop producing content that may even hinder his channel. So what happened? I said, look, I just need a little break for a little while. I'll produce content down the line, but for now I'm just going to focus on my health because I can't get out of fucking bed in the morning. So I was removed from the channel, in effect. The dude took me off and I'm like, okay, fine. Unsubscribe, unfollow on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, because to be honest, if you're gonna be like that, this is YouTube. Anyone that gets into YouTube at this point, when the bubble is going to burst very, very shortly for the money, is kidding themselves. 100% is killing themselves. And more to the point, if you're not seeking to branch out and go to a bigger channel, having having secured an audience of your own, proven track record, then you're never going to at this point, unfortunately. And I'm sorry to have to be harsh on this, but it really fucked me off. This attitude towards my content, which is just give me more, give me more. It's like, well, there's no thanks, there's no, look, this is effort that I put into, and it just really pissed me off. So I wanted to touch on the fact that up until this point, I've recommended Cinematic Venom, but also said, look, I'm over there, go check me out on that channel. Now, while I won't endorse Cinematic Venom anymore, I will give this one last plug, because the guy is super passionate about what he does. A guy called Rob on Cinematic Venom, and to an extent another guy called Jimmy, who also produces content for them. If you want to watch their content, do so, but do so in the knowledge that what's important to them really is your continued support, your continued interaction, but more to the point that you share and that you spread the channel so that it grows naturally, and you know, to the extent where they can become sustainable as content providers, not too dissimilar to another channel called Channel Awesome, which is predominantly anchored, I suppose, by the Nostalgia Critic, a guy called Doug Walker. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, but this is just where fundamentally I have a problem, because I got into YouTube for one reason and one reason only: creative freedom. The ability to be able to produce, make, say, do whatever the hell I like. And it becomes inhibiting after a while when you're put on deadlines and say you have to make this by this time and you have to do this by this time. Which is why I don't know if anyone can understand this if you're not a YouTuber, but it's why it wasn't an easy decision to pull the plug and say, right, I'm not going to film anything review-wise that's new for a little while. I just need to take some time for me. I need to be selfish in my own life for a bit. And I think that it was important to stress this point at the early part of the podcast, because for those who have watched, supported, liked, commented, subscribed, shared, I owe you an explanation to an extent if I've been lazy responding to comments, if the content that I produced recently isn't up to par, particularly entertaining, particularly good, and why, you know, I've not been doing the podcast as I promised. The PWT head-to-heads I've not been doing as well, although I have retained, if you're wondering. But in a month or two, which isn't all that long, I'll be back doing what I do. And I hope everyone who watches, listens, subscribes, yada yada yada, they can understand and appreciate that sometimes in life you've got to just time out for a little bit, come back refreshed, rejuvenated, back to your 100%. Although saying that, I ache badly right now, people. Weight training sucks. If you've ever tried weight training in tandem with losing weight, it's a bitch, man. Focusing on losing weight would be one thing, but when you're trying to rebuild muscle mass that you once had, regaining your old strength, trying to lose weight at the same time, it's a bastard, man. It's so hard. But possible. Hopefully, like I say, the comparisons will be evident when I post my newest video when it comes out down the line. I'll make a big deal out of it as well. You know, I'll try and show people off. But anyway, that concludes the self-flating part of the podcast. It only took me 13 minutes. Holy shit. And I suppose I'm going to get some heat for the comments that I've made, even though I dare say they've been taken out of context. What I'm basically saying is, people, in life, you got to do what's right by you. You got to do what enables you to sleep at night, what enables you to get through the next day, but not just that gets you through the day with a smile on your face. You have to find that way. You have to, people. It's important. It's integral. It is absolutely 100% important. So we move on to the next part of the podcast.
Hello people, this is Rob, also known as Banhead, and today we have a interesting video for you. It is my top 5 favourite original Transformer characters. Now these characters are 100% created by me. The only artwork that is not mine is pictures of the vehicles. Everything else is mine, you should tell, because it's got like a little RT in the top. Just to make you aware, I'm not an artist. I'm not good at drawing or anything like that. So just keep the criticism to a minimum if possible. Ah, fuck it, constructive criticism, great. And let's crack on with number 5.
A few moments later.
And that's that, folks. That is my top 5 Transformers original characters made by yours truly. As stated before, most of the artwork's mine, some of it is not. So please don't sue my ass. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned for more content coming soon. In fact, speaking of that, I recently posted on my Facebook, Robert Thompson, go and find me, about a video that's coming up soon, hopefully after this weekend, where I will be answering questions. Now, these questions can be anything from super serious stuff to, well, whatever the fuck you want. I'm still ready to take questions if anyone wants to post any more. I've had some fucking amazing responses so far. So if anyone does want to, just go over to Facebook and search for me, Robert Thompson. You can't miss my picture. I've got a rainbow coming out of my mouth. Anyway, back to today. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, more content coming soon. As always, if you could leave a little like, comment, hey, fuck it, even subscribe while you're here. And yeah. Well, ham that fucking outro up. Anyway, fuck it. Ladies, guys, I have been Rob, also known as Banhead. Ta-tars.
Hello everyone, Craig here, and this is GFY Productions. We're about comedy, satire, parody, skits, whatever makes you laugh. I might be a little bit more vulgar than Halcyon, but in the end it's all comedy. I don't try to take myself too seriously, and in real life, I'm really not that opinionated about stuff. So when you come to GFY Productions, just come to laugh. If you're weird or you don't have many friends, this is the channel for you, because I'm also weird and have very few friends. Anyway, thanks Halcyon for plugging this. Totally don't have to, but I appreciate it. Great guy, great channel. What else can I say? Well, I won't say my catchphrase, because don't want to get anybody in trouble. Alright, peace.
Hi there, my name is Cronenberg, or Crow as my friends call me, and welcome to my channel. Here you will find many playlists of all sorts of games, ranging from well-known titles and many genres such as Outlast, Sniper Elite, Civilizations, all the way down to the smaller games like Limbo, Yesterday, Dementium and Civ City. I also create footage of Battlefield 3 and 4, looking at loadouts, progression, etc. With some game reviews and demos thrown into the mix, I tend to have something for everybody. So please enjoy the videos, subscribe to my channel, and maybe suggest a few games for me to try. Thank you, Crow.
What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about? I'll tell you what. I know what we'll talk about first of all. Let's talk about wrestling. Talk about wrestling. One of my favourite topics. I've missed a couple of PWT head-to-heads, although we are right around the corner from Great Balls of Fire. Oh my god, who thought? It's like Vince McMahon discovered he owned the rights to that song and went, we have to make a pay-per-view out of this. Dude, sorry, let me start again. Dude, we have to make a pay-per-view out of this. We're gonna call it Great Balls of Fire. And we're gonna use the theme song. And we're gonna make everything 50s themed. But Vince, that makes no sense. And I want the logo to look like a flaming penis. But why? We're family oriented. I don't care if we're family oriented. No one will notice but me, and it'll be hilarious. And if you don't do that right now, you're fine. You get the point. Point is, this is, without a doubt, the dumbest ever, and I do mean ever, pay-per-view name and concept. Why is it called Great Balls of Fire? Why are there going to be giant inflamed circular spheres surrounding the ring, possibly the audience? Is one going to make everything 50s themed, such as the advertisement denotes? No, of course they're fucking not. Anyway, point being is, it's going to be an absolutely terrible themed pay-per-view. However, we have to go back a little bit to say why, hopefully, it won't be a shit pay-per-view, because I unfortunately missed doing the podcast on Extreme Rules, and Money in the Bank. Sorry about that, I've got an ulcer right on the top of my lip. Anyone else got those right now? I don't know why, it always seems to happen around summertime. I get ulcers right in the top of my lip, which means it's really difficult to talk, which I'm sure some of you are enjoying. Let's enjoy a moment of silence and quiet reflection. Okay, that's enough of that. But anyway, point being, WWE Extreme Rules and WWE Money in the Bank, 2 pay-per-views, which I missed, and I'm going to cover right now. Extreme Rules was okay. Odd. A lot of the match stipulations were really odd and really weird. Particularly the Hardys one. You know, Sheamus and Cesaro winning though, that's cool. That was alright. Saved in large part by the main event, which is why Great Balls of Fire might not be shit. Samoa Joe stealing the win by, I want to pronounce this correctly, but I'm not sure I will. Kikuda clutch? Oh, I don't know. Basically a rear naked choke, which was great. It sets up Joe and Lesnar. It's unfortunate that Joe's going to get fed to Lesnar. I think it's a pretty widely known fact that Lesnar and Reigns are going to be going to WrestleMania this year, which is depressing, like really depressing. Considering it's just not. What kind of match can they really have? And everything that went into building Lesnar, everything that the Undertaker's had to sacrifice to get Reigns over for a face of a company that no one wants as the face. It'd be different if they took the time to build up Reigns to get him to the level that the fans do accept him, but they simply do not. And you know the philosophy, you know what they're doing, which is just continue to ram him down people's throats, just keep going, and sooner or later people are just gonna have to accept him. I don't like it, but it is what it is. However, like I say, Joe and Lesnar should be as stiff as fuck, hard as nails, if not fast paced, a decent spot-filled match, because the sight of Samoa Joe getting suplexed is going to be quite the sight, because the dude is huge. However, Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank. Let's talk about Money in the Bank for a second. The men's match was okay. Oh my god, AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, spot of the night, easy. Ziggler with the sunset flip powerbomb. Zayn with the sunset flip powerbomb on Ziggler. What the fuck is he doing taking that spot? Why would you do that? Please don't do it again. But it was awesome. But the main talking point of the night was the whole fucking hell, I forget his name now. The guy without the chin. What's his name? Can't remember either. Okay, well no one cares. Anyway, but basically Carmella and Chinless. A man climbed the top of the ladder and handed the thing. Now, I get that people are pissed off about the fact that it's a man doing it for the woman. The fact remains, though, if it was a female manager doing it for a man in a match, no one would be saying a damn thing. I think it's because there's a lot of emphasis placed on trying to get the women equal to the men. But again, I just think that's flawed, because you have to treat the women on their own merits. You can't keep constantly comparing them to the male product, because otherwise you will constantly be behind, because while the women are trying to catch up, the men, and it's not fair, because the men aren't allowed to do what they used to be able to do. I mean, for instance, okay, I'm currently watching what I believe, with the exception of WrestleMania 17, to be the best pay-per-view of all time, Royal Rumble 2001, and they've had a hardcore section. The Rock's just been put through a table. Austin gets busted open. Triple H has been busted open. They brawl on the outside. There are some frankly ridiculous spots during the course of the previous matches. A lot of guys are working stiff and working heavy. It's great, it's hard hitting, and that's where the bar has been set. And unfortunately, even the women at this point, they can't be expected to hold their own against the male comparison, because even the men aren't compared to that male comparison. This is the benchmark right here for me. This is where every WWE wrestler should be aspiring to be in terms of crowd reaction, story, immersion, purpose, all of this good jazz. It peaked back in 2001. It's been steadily declining since then. However, I thought the women's match overall was pretty good. I just think that the finish was a bit meh. Irrespective of whether or not... James Ellsworth, there's the fucking name. Didn't even bother committing it to memory. But still, it was just a bit eh. However, the next pay-per-view... Great balls of fire. God. Oh God, who knows? Anyway, point being is... 2 weeks' time, Great Balls of Fire. I will be covering this on a podcast, so rest assured, if it's any good, I'll let you know. Now, perhaps onto the biggest talking point of the last month. The single biggest event in sports, or will be, I should say. Connor Macgregor and Floyd Mayweather have finally signed an agreement to get in a ring and let Mayweather dance around Macgregor for 12 rounds, occasionally tapping him in the face. We're all very excited about it. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, point being, yeah, am I excited for the fight? No. Am I going to watch it? Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is. I haven't really got a tremendous amount to say on this. There's no way Macgregor can win. I'll go on record and say that right now. Macgregor cannot win. If we take the CM Punk example, I know people don't like talking about comparisons between other people because Macgregor and CM Punk are completely different levels in terms of their mixed martial arts ability. However, if you take that same thesis and apply it to boxing, you got yourself around about the same approximation of what you're asking Macgregor to do. You're asking him to swap disciplines from one world to another and beat the single, without a shadow of a doubt, the single best defensive boxer of all time. The single best. There's no one that even comes close to Mayweather in terms of defensive aptitude, with the exception of maybe Andre Ward, but even Andre Ward's taken a few stiff punches in his time because he's just not as mobile and as fluid as Mayweather. Now, why am I going to watch it though? Why, if I'm so certain of the result, am I going to watch it? Well, for the same reason that I watched the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. So I can say that I watched it. Because it is a moment in sporting history. It is one of those moments that we will look back on, and if we don't balk at how crap it is, maybe it might be okay, who knows? Maybe Macgregor will catch him unexpectedly. Maybe finally Father Time will have tapped Macgregor on the Mayweather on the shoulder, who knows? Macgregor is a full 12 years junior to Mayweather. But if you just look at the fighting styles of the two fighters, how quick Mayweather is in terms of his boxing, his footwork, his handwork, his ability to move his head, to dodge and weave. Macgregor is undoubtedly quick. I don't want to get this twisted and say Macgregor is some kind of slouch. But fundamentally, the stances that you take when you're boxing and the stances that you take when you're fighting in an MMA fight are totally different. Because in an MMA fight, you're trying your best to defend from all different types of attacks. Takedowns, knees, kicks, submission moves, jumping moves. When was the last time you ever saw a boxer jump in the air before he tried to punch somebody? Why? You never see it, because the transference of energy, kinetic energy from your fist to the opponent's face is always served better when you're planted to the ground. The only reason why you jump in the air to punch is to try and get over someone's guard and follow up with a knee, or try to overpower them, knock them down, catch them in some kind of technical way, because I've got to be honest, I'm not MMA oriented. Boxing is much more my forte. I'm starting to get more and more into MMA, but the nuances of it completely elude me. As do boxing to a certain extent, albeit I have a bit of a better working knowledge of boxing than I do MMA. Now, can Macgregor win? Can he win? Forget my opinion for a second. Can he win? It's a difficult question because it can't be denied how strong Mayweather's this is one of the things that's going to be really difficult for commentators and pundits. Like, the similarity in names and syllables is going to be really difficult to distinguish between the two, even though they could not be more different as people. But anyway, point being, Macgregor has got a hell of a left punch. Knockout ability. Aldo will attest to this fact. However, Macgregor just doesn't walk into punches like that. And he's not agile enough to pin Mayweather against the ropes, against the corner, to try and be able to land those shots. And Mayweather's not stupid enough to sit in the corner and just let him pin him down. He's too quick. He'll just duck out and move back in again. Anyway, point is, long story short, Mayweather to win. Mayweather to win. Yeah, we'll call that. But here's where the show is going to be a little bit different from now on. I want to hear what you guys think. If you guys think Macgregor's got a chance, break it down. Leave it in the comments as to how he can win. And what I'll do, I'll give some promos and previews leading up to the fight, because I definitely will be watching. If I can't live stream it, I'll certainly cover it on a podcast the day after. But nevertheless, if anyone out there has a theory or contrary evidence, then please feel free to leave it there, and we will debate that point as best we can. But Mayweather's going to win. Finally on this podcast, as we look to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes, Arsenal have not made a single signing in the transfer market. Boo friggity who. Apparently we're looking to sign Lacazette, and we are not signing potentially anyone else after that. From what I understand, at least, they're not selling Ozil or Sanchez. They'll hold on to them for another year and let them go on a free, which I'm caught of two ways. If they actually win the Premier League, who knows? They might actually convince Sanchez and Ozil to stay. Ozil they might still convince because Wenger's staying now, but Sanchez, if they actually mount a credible title challenge, then who knows? And without the need to worry about the Champions League, anything's possible. But Lacazette is certainly a sign that's going to excite people. Okay, so I'm going to wrap up the podcast in the next few moments. Like I say, I want to say thanks again for listening, watching the previous few videos. Again, thanks, a big shout outs to some of the other channels that have contributed, that have watched. GFY Productions, my boy. Haven't mentioned him in the early segment of the show. Sorry I didn't mention it at the beginning. For some reason, you're not in my tags on. Why is that? Motherfucker, why are you not in there? Why are you not in there, GFY? Why have you snuck out of there, you silly sausage? You bloody Yanks. You never keep track of you. But anyway, point being, GFY Productions, 5-minute discussion, Zombies Playground, Cronenborg 73 Making Gaming Fun, BBK Smasher, and anyone else who is a contributor, who has watched, subscribed, liked, shared, and all that good jazz. Yeah. I was thinking about doing a fitness-related video segment. I wasn't sure if I wanted to or not, but I don't think anyone really wants to watch me straining and sweating and straining and sweating. Do you? Not really, no. Tell you what, I'll just lose the weight, come in looking ripped as thick, and then we can just go from there. I think we'll all be happy with that. Anyway, in the meantime, please like, share, subscribe. Remember, I am still your reigning, defending, longest PWT heavyweight champion of the world. Next podcast will be coming out in the next couple of days, as promised. The next video will drop next week. Not sure what it's going to be on, so you have to stay tuned for that. Thank you very much again for listening. Take care of yourselves. Go and check out some of the other content providers in the description below. And I will see you guys on the next episode of Halcyon Podcast.